And greetings, everyone, from the Vortex Healing Center. I've got someone very special with me here today. I've got Skylark, and yes, that's his name, and I haven't yet asked him how he got that name. I'm sure that's a good story, too. But we spent the afternoon doing Kirtan, which is sacred chanting, and Skylark came up from Hobart to help us with his harmonium lead many of the chants. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with Kirtan and sacred chanting, Skylark.
Okay. Well, it's going back 40 years or so, and I was doing yoga before that and hadn't really had any idea of Kirtan being a part of yoga. And so just, I think my first experience of Kirtan was at a forest festival in Tasmania 40 odd years ago. And I just intuitively fell in with it and just loved it, and have been singing very often with the same people from way back then. There's a group that's been singing together for many, many years, and the group fluctuates, new people coming in and some people dropping out. But there's a few of us who have been singing together for many, many years.
Wow.
And it's like a family. Not everyone is using Kirtan in the same way, but for me it's a very, very important part of my yoga practice. And it's certainly as important as all of the other aspects of yoga, because Kirtan is a way of tapping into your own energy and keeping that very high. And and the point of Kirtan, this is not the only point of Kirtan, but a fundamentally important part of it, I think, from a community point of view, because Kirtan creates community. But an important part of it is that if you use Kirtan to raise your own levels of joy and capacity to be with other people and enjoy other people's company, then you are more likely to feel motivated to put energy into community. Not only your community of singers, but the community of people that you live with, who may have nothing to do with yoga, but who are your own community in lots of different ways.
So let me ask you a question, because you actually have a really beautiful, deep bass voice and beautiful pitch and tone and rhythm. Was it always like that for you?
Well, it's just what I was given, It's like none of us can help how we sound, and there are some times when that works and sometimes when it doesn't work. But this is the voice I've got. I just use it the best way I can. And sometimes I like singing deeply, and sometimes I like singing at a higher level. If I get into a singing group, I'm usually asked to sing deep, because singing groups are often short of bass. But I always want to see them sing the melodic parts. I want to sing like a soprano, but this is the voice I've got. So them's the cookies.
Yeah, nice. And you were playing an instrument. We also had a couple other people bring their harmonium. Can you tell us the origins of that and how you got started playing harmonium?
Okay. Well, the harmonium would have been present at that first Kirtan at the Forest Festival years and years ago. And there was a guy called Sol who was playing it, and there were some other musicians with him. And I liked the sound of it. I didn't know anything about it and didn't have any thought of playing it. And then over the years I've learnt to play guitar and ukulele and drums. And then a friend of mine who's a beautiful Kirtanist, he said, I want to teach you how to play harmonium. And I said, I'm not quite sure if I've got the time. I'm doing other things, and I'm trying to learn these other three instruments. I just started to seriously learn the drums at that time, because I've got a local drum teacher, and I was enjoying that. But anyway, one time when I was around visiting him, he gave me one of his old harmoniums, which didn't work very well, and he said, just see what you can do with this. So I took it home, and it was in terrible condition. It didn't work very well. So I said to him, well, look, I'm a bit intrigued now, but before I fix it, I need to buy it from you. And so that was what we arranged. I bought it from him, and I opened it up, spent a long time fixing it, and then started playing it. And by that time, I was just absolutely hooked. And I think I've played it almost every day since. And that's nearly. I can't quite remember. It's nearly 3 years ago, I think now. And
Because
so,
it reminds me of like a wooden box accordion that does have
yes,
to be on a floor. Is that kind of what it is?
It's very similar, actually. It's very similar. The tone is different to a piano accordion.
Yeah.
And of course, the instrument itself, I mean, the history is more involved than I know, but as far as I understand, it's developed from the English harmonium, the upright harmonium, which went to India with the missionaries. And then, of course, the Indians, who are incredibly clever at adapting things, wanted to make a small mobile machine, instrument that could be carried around, and this is what they came up with. And now I understand there's a whole cottage industry in India where some people might make the reeds, some people make the keys, some people make the box, and then they all go off to someone who assembles it all. And so the interesting thing about at least the Indian-made harmoniums is that they all have a slightly different sound. They're all internally tuned, but they're not necessarily tuned exactly with each other. So they're very unique instruments. Now today we had 3 harmoniums, and by some miraculous coincidence, they worked together. They were close enough. They're not exactly the same, but they're close enough to play together.
So you're telling me that doesn't always happen?
No, there are other harmoniums around that are so different you just can't play them together.
Oh wow!
Because of course the tuning is fixed. It's not like a stringed instrument where you can tune it on the spot.
Yeah.
And if you're playing with a guitarist, they have to tune to the harmonium. My harmonium's not far off concert pitch, so it's not too bad. But if it's a long way off concert pitch, then the string instruments have to completely retune.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And things like recorders, it's very difficult for them to play along. So it's often just potluck. And sometimes if the harmoniums are just a little bit different, you can play as long as one harmonium is being dominant and the other one just plays very gently, or just plays one single drone note. So you have to work that out. It's just lovely to be spontaneous and in the moment with these instruments, and you have to figure out how you can work them with a kit.
But you're setting up your own place down near Hobart, I hear.
Yes.
What's going to be happening there? What does the future hold for
what's
you?
been happening for a number of years now, really. It's a very special place that I found very serendipitously. I had been looking for a new place to settle, and just saw this place when I was visiting friends, and had a look. And it's very near to an Aboriginal midden, and I realised this place had been a gathering site for human beings, for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Meeting there on some sort of ad hoc basis. I don't know what their routines would have been, but they would have met there regularly, and they would have found their food, and they would have cooked, and no doubt sang and danced and told stories around the fire. And that was the feeling I got at this place, and I thought I would like to recreate that here, and I've created a place where I live there permanently, and others come for various reasons. I have celebrations there, and there are sometimes yoga retreats there, which other people come and teach. I have a yoga sangha retreat once a month, which is just where anybody who wants to be with other people studying and practicing yoga can come and be together.
Nice.
So that's just taking off. Just started that. So yeah, it's a place for people to hang out and find their people.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming up to the Vortex Healing Center. We had 30 people enjoying your music today.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good crowd.
And the local musicians, I mean, they're fantastic. I can't wait until I can come back up again and join you all.
Yeah.
I don't know when that will be, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll let you know. Thanks again for coming.
Okay.